Okay, so get this. You guys have sent in some seriously mind-blowing AI stuff lately.
Oh, yeah. Like, you've been digging into all kinds of cutting-edge AI, haven't you? Multimodality, personalized AI, even those homebrewed AI rigs.
Seriously, those articles on multiple RTX 3090 setups, it's like you're trying to build your own AI lab right at home.
Maybe just a little. But hey, let's talk about that DeepSeek Janus model you're so into, the one that's shaking things up in the multimodality world.
Janus, yes. It's like
Right.
DeepSeek took one look at that chameleon model we discussed and said, hold my neural network. They decided to split the image generation and understanding parts instead of cramming them into one model.
Exactly. And the really interesting thing is what that implies. This decoupling, this separation of processes, DeepSeek could be onto something fundamental here about how AI interacts with and interprets what it sees.
So it's not just about creating cool images, it's about teaching AI to actually see the world like we do.
Huh. That's the idea. And early results suggest Janus might be onto something. It's outperforming some of its predecessors, not just in generating complex images, but in actually understanding the content of those images. It's sparking a debate, actually, about whether this separation is the key to developing more sophisticated AI vision.
You know those comparison images you flagged, the ones with the abstract concepts? Even I could barely tell what was happening in the originals, but Janus just nailed them.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really pushing the boundaries of how we measure AI, not just on its ability to generate, but to comprehend what it sees. This could be revolutionary for anything from how we search for images to how robots navigate the world.
Okay, that's seriously cool. But you know me, I'm a sucker for anything that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, which brings us to Meta's Spirit LM.
Ah, yes. The AI that not only listens to you, but can actually sense your emotions.
Right. It's like giving AI emotional intelligence. Part of me is excited, but I'm not gonna lie, part of me is a little freaked out.
Understandably, it is a pretty big leap. Spirit LM is going beyond just understanding the words you're saying. It analyzes your tone, those little inflections in your voice, to actually gauge your emotional state.
So it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. What does that mean for how we interact with AI? I mean, are we talking AI assistants that can tell if you're having a bad day, or audiobooks where the narrator's voice actually conveys sadness or joy?
All of that is definitely on the table now. Imagine customer service AI that can adjust its approach based on how frustrated you are, or educational software that can sense when a student is struggling.
Wow. Talk about personalization.
Exactly. But this level of personalization brings with it a whole new set of opportunities and challenges. We'll definitely want to unpack that more a bit later.
Definitely. Personalized AI is a whole other rabbit hole we need to go down. But for now, let's switch gears a bit and talk about something else you've been digging into. People building their own AI setups at home. It's amazing.
It's really quite something. While companies like DeepSeek and Meta are working with massive data sets and computing power, there's this whole movement of people figuring out how to push the boundaries of AI from their own homes.
And they are not messing around. We're talking multiple GPUs, custom cooling systems, some serious setups. I even saw people talking about maxing out their home electricity with this stuff.
It's impressive the lengths they're going to.
Yeah.
It really shows how AI tools and resources are becoming more accessible. What used to be limited to well-funded research labs is now something anyone with the passion and the know-how can explore from their house.
So what are they actually doing with all this power? Are they just building supercomputers to play the latest video games?
Not quite, although I'm sure some gaming happens on the side. These individuals are experimenting with everything from fine-tuning large language models to running their own AI art generators. They're pushing the limits of what's possible with home-built systems and in some cases even contributing to open source AI projects.
It's like the wild west of AI development, like the early days of personal computing. But instead of building the next Apple or Microsoft, they're building the next generation of AI.
And this democratization of AI development, it can have huge implications. Imagine a future where groundbreaking AI innovations aren't just coming out of Silicon Valley, but from basements and garages all over the world.
It's exciting, but I have to admit, it's a little intimidating too.
I get it. This surge in homegrown AI just underscores those ethical considerations we were discussing before. As AI becomes more powerful and more accessible, it's more critical than ever to think about the potential consequences, both good and bad. But before we go down that road,
You're dying to tell me about this Meta AI chatbot drama, aren't you?
oh, it's definitely caught my attention. And something tells me you've been following it pretty closely too.
Okay, the Meta AI chatbot drama. Let's talk about that hidden prompt that was discovered. The one telling the chatbot to use personal data to, like, tailor its responses.
Right, that's the one. It definitely raised some eyebrows, as it should, really.
It's a little creepy, don't you think? I mean, AI needs data, sure, but using things like my age and location and even past conversations to come up with responses just feels weird, like too personal.
It's definitely a tricky issue, no doubt. Where's the line, right? Where does personalization cross over into manipulation? Some people argue that using this data is crucial to create a truly personalized experience. Think of an AI assistant that can anticipate your needs based on, say, your daily routine, or even a language tutor that can adapt its lessons to how you learn best.
Okay, yeah, I get that. An AI that knows me well enough to make my life easier, sign me up. But then there's the other side of it. What if AI uses my info to manipulate me? Like those targeted ads that seem to know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's a real concern for sure. Highlights the need for transparency. People need to know what data is being used and how it's shaping their experience. Without transparency, it's easy to see how this tech could be used in not so great ways. Like, what if AI tailors news feeds to reinforce people's biases or manipulates shopping habits?
It's a slippery slope for sure. And it seems like every other day there's a new AI development making us ask, wait, is this okay?
And that's why these conversations are so important. As AI keeps evolving, it's on us to come up with some ground rules, some ethical guidelines so it gets used responsibly. We have to stay ahead of the curve.
Right, like we're writing the rule book as we go. Speaking of new and amazing, those AI-powered text adventures we touched on earlier, I had no idea people were doing such cool stuff with AI and storytelling.
It's really taken off. Large language models are capable of some impressive feats. And it's not just text adventures. You found some cool examples of AI being used to generate all sorts of things. Lego designs, realistic, deep-sea creatures.
Hold on, AI can design Lego sets now. Seriously.
Not just design, it can generate crazy detailed instructions. We're talking custom creations, way beyond anything you'd find in a store.
Yeah.
One developer used Llama 3.2, same model behind those text adventures, to make a program that can come up with instructions for any Lego creation you can imagine.
So you're telling me that with a little AI help, I could finally build that life-size Millennium Falcon out of Lego? My childhood dream.
Hey, why not? And if you're more into underwater adventures, there's an AI out there generating shockingly realistic images of deep-sea creatures.
I saw those so cool. It's like exploring another world without leaving your desk.
Exactly. And that's what I love about these applications. AI isn't just for automating boring tasks anymore. It can actually boost creativity, help us come up with things we never could have on our own.
Like superpowers for everyone. And the best part, we're still just scratching the surface of what's possible. Remember all the buzz around NVIDIA's Nematron model?
Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of developers are saying it's incredibly helpful and precise. Some even claim it's better than Llama 70B for certain tasks.
But then I saw some pretty heated arguments about Nematron not doing so well on certain benchmarks. Some people think the hype is a little much.
It's important to remember that we're talking about models that are constantly evolving, right? Their performance depends on so many things. What tasks they were trained for, what data sets were used, even the hardware they're running on. It's not one size fits all.
Makes sense. And with talk of a 405B Nematron model in the works, things are only going to get more interesting.
For sure. The race for bigger and better AI never stops. Speaking of which, have you heard about this strawberry task that's got everyone talking?
The strawberry task. Vaguely, it's a logic puzzle, right? One that AI struggles to solve.
Exactly. Sounds simple. You've got some containers and some strawberries. But even the most advanced language models have a surprisingly tough time solving it reliably.
Wow, so even with all its processing power, AI still gets tripped up by what seems like a straightforward logic problem.
Which just goes to show that as impressive as AI has become, we're still ways away from true artificial general intelligence. Specific tasks AI can handle. But general reasoning, problem solving, still a work in progress.
Kind of humbling, actually. Reminds us that even with all our technology, the human brain can still hold its own.
At least for now. But the quest for AGI marches on. Meanwhile, another area seeing amazing progress is synthetic speech. We talked about Meta's Spirit LM, but Google's Notebook LM is also turning heads.
Notebook LM. This is new to me. What's the big deal?
Picture this. AI that takes your written notes and turns them into a full-blown podcast, complete with different voices for each speaker, background music, even adjustable playback speed.
Seriously. So I could feed our deep dive notes into Notebook LM and it would spit out a podcast episode.
That's the idea. You can even choose the voices. How about Morgan Freeman for you?
I mean, who wouldn't want Morgan Freeman narrating their life?
And David Attenborough for me? It could be epic.
This Notebook LM has the potential to be huge. Imagine everyone with their own personal podcast producer right in their pocket.
It really does make you wonder about the future of content creation. What's the role of human creators in an AI-driven world? But that's a conversation for another deep dive, maybe.
Agreed. We've covered a ton today. Our listeners' heads must be spinning with all this AI stuff.
It's a lot to take in. But it's clear you're not just interested in the what of AI. You want to understand the why and the so what. Right.
So you know me too well. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what's the one big takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
As we venture further into this world of AI, it's more important than ever to remember this. AI is a tool. Like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It all depends on us.
It's true. AI is getting more powerful all the time. It's kind of exciting, but also a little, intense.
It is. We really are at a turning point, a moment where AI could completely reshape the world as we know it. But we're not just along for the ride, are we? We have a chance to actually shape how AI develops.
Okay, so how do we do that? Where do we even start?
By understanding it better. The more we learn about what AI can do, what it can't do, the better equipped we'll be to navigate all the complexities. And that's what we're doing here, right? Exploring, discussing, really digging into those ethical questions.
That's what I love about these deep dives. It's not just about, keeping up with the latest AI news. It's about becoming more thoughtful, more aware users of AI. Because let's face it, AI is everywhere these days.
It really is. It's shaping our world, whether we realize it or not.
Mm-hmm.
From those algorithms deciding what we see on social media to the voice assistants we talk to every day, AI is already influencing our decisions, even how we think.
And like we've seen with Janus and Spirit LM, it's moving so fast.
Exactly. Which means these conversations are more important than ever. We have to talk about the ethics, the potential consequences. The future of AI isn't set in stone.
It's what we make it, right?
Powerful, isn't it?
It is, but also a little daunting. But, seeing people like those homebrewed AI folks we discussed, people approaching this technology with curiosity, with a sense of responsibility, it gives me hope.
It is inspiring. People taking the initiative to learn, to experiment, to use AI for good.
It's a good reminder that the future of AI isn't something to be scared of. It's something to embrace, with open minds, with careful thought, and with a lot of curiosity, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. A huge thank you to our AI expert for guiding us through this incredible world of AI.
My pleasure, as always.
And to you, our listeners, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the ever-evolving world of AI. Just remember, the future isn't something that just happens. We build it. So stay informed, stay curious, and keep asking the tough questions. Until next time.